Hey Quilty friends, I mentioned that I was going to do a tutorial for the Bloc-Loc half square triangle ruler, so that's what I'm going to do tonight. So I'm going to take 2 scrap charm squares, face them right sides together. I'm going to take just a plain ruler that has a 1/4 inch line. I'm going to line that 1/4 inch line up on the corner, and I'm going to draw a line. Now, there are fancy rulers just aimed for putting these 1/4 inch lines away from the middle, but any old ruler will work. And there is absolutely no shame in drawing lines. This is a Frixion marker that will disappear with heat. So I'm going to take it to the machine. I'm going to stitch right on those red lines, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I have sewn directly on those red lines. Now I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm going to cut these 2 half square triangles in half, corner to corner. And now I've got 2 half square triangles. So I'm going to take these to the iron and I'm going to set my seam, and then I'm going to press to the dark side. All right, so I have both of those pressed. I got my 4.5 by 4.5 Bloc-Loc. I can use this ruler to make 4.5 by 4.5 or anything smaller than that size. There are larger sizes of the Bloc-Locs that you can use to that, the highest size all the way down. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be a 4.5 by 4.5. There is a ridge on this Bloc-Loc, and it's really a valley. And what that does is locks on to the seam here. So I'm going to take the logo and I'm going to place it on the light colored fabric if I press to the dark side. And what you're going to see is that fabric ridge nests right inside of there, and it holds it for us. So I can push and the ruler's not going to slide off the fabric's going to go with it. So when I'm holding my ruler cutting, I'm going to always push towards that dark side. Now you'll notice this glides up and down that seam. That is the trick to this ruler. So we're going to line it up, and we are just going to go around. Since this is a 4.5 by 4.5, I am just going to, when I put pressure, I don't want to pressure that way. I want to pressure towards the dark side. So I'm just going to trim it up, and you can see we're going to have very little waste. And just like that, I've got a perfect 4.5 by 4.5 half square triangle. Okay, so that's pretty easy because that was the size of the Bloc-Loc. But now I want to show you how to use it to make a smaller half square triangle. So again, the logo goes on the light side. Get that nested onto the seam and lock it in. Let's go ahead and do a 4 by 4. So you can see here I have the 4 and the 4 line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull towards the dark so that it's locked in, and then I'm going to slide towards that. Do not want to pass that 4 by 4 line. I'm going to focus to get this trimmed up first. So I'm going to leave it right about there. I can go just about there, but I have to make sure I look on both sides. As long as I have clearance on both sides, I'm good to go. I'm going to slide it up a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to clear the scraps on that, and you can see I've now squared that up, and I've got my seam going right to the corner. I am going to turn that, slide down until this line hits right on there, and look at that. Perfect. Now, if you were to accidentally jump the seam, you're going to have some differences, but if you stay on that seam, and it's really hard to jump that seam, you are going to be perfect. And I'm making sure I'm pushing. You notice what I just did there? I kind of pulled it towards, I need to push towards the dark. Here we go. If it doesn't line up, you're probably pulling it the wrong direction. And just like that, I have a 4 by 4 perfectly square, half square triangle with my diagonal directly in the middle. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. So there are a lot of other methods and rulers out there that all work great. This just happens to be my favorite. So I hope that helps if anybody's on the fence of getting a Bloc-Loc. Not an affiliate, I just totally believe in this ruler. Have a great evening.